Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today I am talking about personality. And this has come up for me a few times recently because there are a lot of posts out there about our personality and that we should, kind of gear our life around this personality. So there's a couple of things I want to share that have come up. Well, there's one thing that's come up this morning that I noticed about tomorrow, that I am attending two very different networking events on Zoom. I'm not actually just attending them both, I'm actually hosting them both. So one of them is my ladies networking event, which is a very it's called the Female Business Collective, and it's very connected and quiet, and we still have a laugh, but it's a very supportive and calming space, I suppose. And I think that's why the people who come to it. And the one in the afternoon is called Peppercorn, and that is a 4 minute at a time speed networking event, which is crackers. It's probably the best word for it. It's really good fun. It's very fast moving. There's lots of banter, and I'm actually hosting that. So I'm in one day going to be hosting two very, very, very different networking events. And that got me to thinking that I wonder how much our world shrinks when we think that we are a certain kind of personality and therefore only certain things are okay for us to do. Like for some people would not come to even ladies will not come to a ladies networking event because they think it's not for them, they think it's not for their personality. And the same the other way around. There are some people who wouldn't come to a loud, bubbly speed networking event because they don't think it's right for them. Now, I think there's kind of a fine line really between contemplating what is right for us from a space of, well, we're all allowed to like things and dislike things, aren't we? There's no rules on that. But and the line between that and I'm not doing that because it's not my kind of personality. But what even is this thing called a personality? Well, it's basically your thoughts, feelings, and behaviours. But aren't they really, really flexible and changeable? Are you the same as you were however many years ago? I just don't see that this thing called a personality is that solid anymore. I really see that we are, when they talk about neuroplasticity, that we are not a set thing. And my evidence for this is very wide ranging. No, my personal anecdotal evidence for this is that in March last year, March 2021, I was working with a lady around my branding. A very fabulous lady, Lucy with a Y, she's called, and she invited me to do a personality test thing as part of how she was going to consider my brand and how I should come out into the world. And so something really interesting happened. I completed this personality test, and then the system that I'd done it on invited me to open an account or register my account so that I could get my feedback from the personality quiz. And when I went to do that, I realised, well, the computer said to me, you already have an account. So I was a bit like, oh, that's interesting. So I rummaged around in my emails and finally found that I had, in fact, done this personality screening almost exactly a year to the day earlier. So literally 1 year earlier, I'd done exactly the same personality screening. And it came up with completely different, a different personality type than the one I'd apparently had a year before. And it was interesting actually, because I remember thinking, as I was answering the question, I remember thinking, oh, I probably changed how I answer this question. I probably wouldn't think like this. Probably wouldn't have thought like this before, and now I think differently. And I probably didn't have a time scale on it. Didn't know it was only a year, but it was completely different. And I guess, personality might be what some people might call mindset. Your ways of thinking and feeling and behaving. They've got all sorts of names, haven't they? But I mean, that's why I don't really like the phrase, the mindset word, because it makes it sound like it is set. And I don't like that idea that it's solid and permanent. But what if we didn't live in a world of believing that we all had a personality? And I think there's like two distinct sides of this. There's how we view ourselves, but my goodness, there is how we view other people. This person is that kind of person, and therefore we can only see in them the traits that fit with the decision we've made about who they are. But internally, that is huge. Internally, how we see ourselves impacts on everything that we do in the world. I know there's a fabulous story in one of Steve Chandler's books about a meeting he's having with, I think with this lady, about, they're talking about food and dieting and that kind of thing. And this lady's talking about how she eats lots of salad and she's really, really good, inverted commas. But she's quite overweight, this lady. And she says, but I'm a cake, but my problem is that I'm a cake person. And of course, because she sees herself as a cake person, what happens when she sees cake? Well, she pretty much can't say no to it because she's decided she's a cake person. I'm wondering, as I'm saying this, what kind of person do you think you are? Because what happens is like a self-fulfilling prophecy, is that the more we believe that we are a certain kind of person, or we have a label for ourselves, whether that is just some light-hearted thing like being a cake person, or it's some more heavy thing like seeing yourself as anxious or shy, or things that really can impact on how you go into the world, that none of that is really who you are. I mean, I think it's really helpful to know that there's the energy of life, which is who you really are, that has been brought into form in its current form, which is your physical body, your life. And then there's all this stuff, thinking, feelings, behaviours, that we call the personality. That's what we call the I, isn't it? The me. That's who I am. We say that, don't we? I'm just like that. And yet this I is a concept created in thinking. And the more you start to see that, the more it begins to melt away. And then you can be whoever you need to be in the moment. When we turn up present without an idea about a situation, or an idea about ourselves, or an idea about the other people who are there, And we really can just turn up fresh and new in the moment and be with that moment and be whoever we are in that moment. That's real freedom. That's where the calm and the clarity and the confidence lie, underneath the personality, because that's not really who you are. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.